Was a superstar. I've been saying it for years. I keep telling everybody she's the Steph Curry of women's basketball, college or pro. She is a superstar. I had the pleasure of doing an event with her on campus at Iowa a few months ago. I went there for my man Mark Shapiro, and I had a blast. She and I were on a panel together. She's a wonderful, wonderful young lady, incredibly poised. But this woman is the nation's leading scorer, averaging 31.5 points per game, shooting 40% from threes. She's hitting at least 5 3-pointers per game.
Nike did not lose control because of a defective sneaker. It wasn't a scandal, a lawsuit, or even a multi-million-dollar Super Bowl commercial gone wrong. What caused one of the most powerful corporations on the planet to stumble happened quietly, digitally, and shockingly fast. It involved a WNBA player, a $40 t-shirt, and a moment that unfolded in less than 60 seconds just after midnight. Think about that for a moment. How does a single piece of cotton overpower a $150 billion global empire? How does a company built to withstand Black Friday traffic, global sneaker drops, and Olympic-level demand suddenly buckle under pressure? Nike servers are designed to handle billions of interactions every year across continents. Yet on this night, they weren't ready. Not even close. Executives would later scramble to understand what went wrong. Engineers would analyze traffic surges. Analysts would comb through sales data. But by the time answers began to form, it was already too late. The damage, or rather, the revelation, had already occurred. Caitlin Clark's logo didn't just sell out. It detonated. What unfolded next wasn't merely a successful product launch. It was a $500 million chain reaction that exposed something Nike, the WNBA, and even Wall Street had underestimated for years. The commercial power of women's basketball had crossed into an entirely new era. Within moments, the product vanished. Screens froze. Carts crashed. Checkouts failed. Millions of fans were locked out as if the doors had slammed shut in their faces. Confusion turned into disbelief, and disbelief turned into outrage. Social media ignited instantly. People weren't just complaining, they were stunned. This wasn't supposed to happen. Not like this. Not for a WNBA player. Not for a t-shirt. And yet it did. Behind the scenes, Nike executives were confronted with a reality they hadn't fully prepared for. Caitlin Clark wasn't just a rising star. She wasn't just a fan favorite. She wasn't even just a cultural moment. She was an economic force, one capable of overwhelming systems built for the biggest male athletes on earth. This wasn't hype manufactured by marketing teams. This was organic demand. Raw, unfiltered, global obsession colliding with infrastructure that assumed women's basketball merchandise would remain niche. It didn't. What happened that night permanently altered how brands, leagues, and investors would view women's sports. And the most shocking part? This was only the beginning.
Amazing, logo threes and buzzer beaters. Now, Clayton Clark has been the talk of the town for the past, really this whole year, but really just heavy in the past 2 months, just because, she's the best female college player of all time that's coming out of college type shit. Even though they lost in the championship, they are still just showing this girl's face. No hate, no love. I really like her game. I haven't seen too much of it. I've seen little clips and stuff, but
To fully understand why this moment mattered, you have to look at what came before it. For a year and a half, Caitlin Clark merchandise was nearly impossible to find. Despite her record-breaking performances, despite sold-out arenas, despite unprecedented television ratings, fans were left waiting, asking, guessing, wondering. This was baffling. Nike can plan and execute multi-million-dollar shoe launches in under 6 months. Entire global campaigns are built around rookies before they even play a professional game. And yet, one of the most visible athletes in basketball history had almost nothing available for purchase. The disconnect was glaring. Fans weren't just interested, they were desperate. Social media was filled with daily questions. When is the merch coming? Why is there nothing available? How is Nike missing this? The silence stretched on for 18 months. That silence wasn't neutral. It built pressure. It amplified anticipation. It turned curiosity into obsession. By the time the logo finally appeared, demand wasn't normal anymore. It was compressed. Years of ignored consumer interest collapsed into a single moment. Nike didn't launch into an empty market. They launched into a vacuum they had created themselves. And the result was inevitable.
Around greatness can have nothing to do with the conversation around being a cultural phenomenon. And now there is no debate that Caitlin Clark has become exactly that. Think about it. The Nike historic shoe deal she just signed, she signed because companies like to make money. and they know they will make money. Because when Caitlin Clark walks into a coffee shop in the middle of nowhere, people recognize her. Because when you are on Saturday Night Live and every news and entertainment network along the way, not just sports networks, you've risen above the conversation about your play and you've become.
Then the logo appeared. No flashy campaign, no countdown clock, no celebrity-packed launch event. Just a simple product quietly placed online. A basic t-shirt featuring 2 interlocking C letters, minimalistic, clean, and unmistakably Caitlin Clark. And in less than 60 seconds, absolute chaos erupted. What was supposed to be a routine merchandise drop instantly became one of the most astonishing product launches in sportswear history. The site traffic exploded. Pages lagged. Payment systems strained under a load no one had anticipated. What Nike expected to be a controlled release transformed into a global spectacle. A digital stampede fueled by years of pent-up demand. This wasn't just about fashion. It wasn't even just about basketball. This was cultural pressure finally finding an outlet. For months, fans had been waiting, watching, asking, and suddenly they all arrived at the same time. The speed of the collapse stunned everyone. Nike, a company that orchestrates sneaker drops with military precision, found itself completely overwhelmed by a women's basketball t-shirt. That reality alone was historic. Within moments, the narrative shifted. This wasn't a merch drop anymore. It was proof. Proof that the audience was there. Proof that the money was there. Proof that the industry's assumptions were outdated. What followed was a global ripple effect. Screenshots of error messages flooded social media. Videos of failed checkouts went viral. Fans from different countries shared the same frustration in real time. It became clear that this demand wasn't limited to one city, one league, or one demographic. It was worldwide. The Caitlin Clark logo had unintentionally exposed a massive blind spot in sports marketing. Women stars were being treated like secondary investments, despite commanding primary-level attention. That night rewrote the rules.
What game when she was playing, or just sat there and like watch her full highlight clips, just whatever like great shot she shoots or whatever play she makes that's big and it goes on Twitter or TikTok, whatever. I've seen it, but I want to give respect due to this, to her, because again, what she's doing is amazing. Like you ain't never seen no female do what she be doing, or no woman. So in that standpoint, I just want to show love and just see what's going on, like see what type of shots and like just the craft.
Where were the hoodies, the hats, the partnerships, the limited editions, the collections? For a year and a half, there was nothing, and fans noticed. Then quietly, on a late September night just after midnight, everything changed. The Caitlin Clark logo went live. Elegant, minimal, powerful. A $40 adult t-shirt. A $35 youth version. 2 million units produced. A number that looked aggressive on paper, but was, in reality, laughably conservative. Nike believed they were prepared. They weren't. The design didn't scream for attention. It didn't need to. It represented something bigger: validation, recognition, visibility for fans. Owning that shirt meant owning a piece of history. And history sold out instantly.
Right now, that Caitlin Clark has become the Taylor Swift for all of women's sports. She's easily recognizable in everything she does, and it's turning new generations of fans to her. It's bringing new generations of women and men to sports that maybe they weren't covering before. It's getting a level of interest that is far beyond the game that's being played. We can continue to debate the career process for Caitlin Clark and what's going to happen. But what this shoe deal proves to all of us and reminds all of us is that there are sometimes some people are larger than any one particular game that they play. Caitlin Clark has a...
It took just 60 seconds. Nike's infrastructure, designed to process billions of transactions annually, collapsed under the weight of 10 million site hits in 1 minute. 500,000 orders went through before everything broke. Millions more were locked out. Frustration replaced excitement. Obsession replaced patience. And the shockwaves went global. Europe woke up to chaos. Asia followed. In Tokyo, fans lined up overnight. In China, resale prices hit $3,000. Bots flipped shirts at 250% markups. Secondary markets exploded. One reseller reportedly cleared $50,000 overnight. Nike stock jumped 8% pre-market. Wall Street noticed. Fashion magazines noticed. High school students began trading the shirts like currency for cars, tickets, gaming consoles. A basic t-shirt became a status symbol, not because Nike made it rare, but because the world demanded it. And in that moment, women's basketball crossed a line it can never step back from.